My name is Jack Turner. For over 12 years, I'd lived peacefully on wooded land just outside a growing HOA community. With a thick wall of hedges, I'd planted myself running along the property line. Privacy, noise buffer, a natural barrier between my land and the neighborhood next door. Most people liked them. Karen Whitmore, the HOA president, hated them on sight. She spent months filing complaints about my hedges, blocking the community's scenic woodland view, sending letters, even leaning on local officials to force their removal. Every attempt died for the same reason. My property wasn't part of the HOA, and the hedges were entirely legal. That didn't stop her from showing photos of my hedge line at every meeting, insisting the neighborhood deserved better. Then I left town for a weekend conference. Before I left, I walked the property and admired a hedge line that had taken years to fill in. I had no idea it wouldn't survive the weekend. While I was gone, landscaping crews showed up on HOA instructions and started cutting. Hundreds of feet of mature hedges, gone in hours. Karen personally supervising, finally getting her view. I came home to stumps, torn soil, and debris where a decade of growth used to stand. Furious doesn't begin to cover it. But once the anger settled, curiosity took over. Why would anyone take that kind of legal risk? My security cameras had the answer. Every contractor, every vehicle, every instruction, with Karen on camera directing the whole operation. Everyone expected a lawsuit, and one was absolutely coming. But first, I had a better idea. If Karen wanted an unobstructed view that badly, I was going to make sure she never forgot asking for one. By midnight, I'd sketched out a project. Fully legal, fully permitted, and considerably more permanent than any hedge. 3 days later, trucks started rolling in. First a few rusted shipping containers, then a lot more. Flatbeds lined my entrance, while cranes stacked container after container along the exact property line, where the hedges used to stand. Karen watched from a distance, smug, assuming temporary storage. That smile didn't survive the second level. What rose over the next week was 3 stories of rust-colored steel running the entire boundary. Every inch of her precious scenic view buried behind thousands of tons of shipping container. Neighbors started calling it the Rusty Fortress before construction even finished. Karen marched onto my property line, demanding it stop. I handed her copies of the permits. Inspections approved. Setbacks met. Every container sitting entirely on my land. The HOA hired attorneys hoping to find a loophole. Weeks of digging through zoning code and property records landed on one conclusion. Ugly maybe, but completely legal. Emergency meetings followed, full of demands and zero solutions. The same organization that had ignored property rights to destroy my hedges was now boxed in by those exact rights. Once construction wrapped, lighting and reinforcement turned what started as spite into something closer to a landmark. Drivers slowed down for it. People in neighboring towns had heard about it before I'd even finished the second coat of rust-proofing. My privacy, meanwhile, had never been better. No road noise, no traffic, and certainly no more talk about scenic views. Karen eventually stopped complaining altogether. There was nothing left to argue. In trying to erase a hedge line, she'd accidentally inspired something bigger, louder, and a lot harder to take down. The Rusty Fortress still stands today. Every time someone in that neighborhood looks toward it, they're reminded of something simple. Respecting a boundary is always easier than finding out the hard way why it was there. If this story hit home, smash that like button and subscribe for more real HOA stories every week. Drop a comment below. Where are you watching from tonight?